So the question was meant to be, who is the most famous snooker player or any sports person that you've seen on holiday, and what were they doing?
I tell you what, a good one this actually. I was on holiday in Dubai. It'll be about, God, must be about 12, 13, 14 years ago. And staying in this hotel in Dubai, and we just walked past, we were going to the kids club, and they had tennis courts, and Roger Federer was there playing with his wife, tennis, the tennis court. And I stood watching Roger Federer. There was no one else there.
Amazing.
I stood watching Roger Federer for about 10, 15 minutes. Kids didn't know. They said they wanted to go to the ground part. I said, hello. That's like, not a clue.
That's incredible.
But yeah.
Was he playing sort of all out, would you say? Or
I don't know. I'd probably think
punching
no.
the air when he
probably
went to point.
No,
And stuff like
I don't.
that,
I think he was going that far. But yeah, it was just like, it's incredible.
It is. It's quite funny to think that on holiday Federer would still be playing tennis as well.
I know, and it wasn't long after he'd won Wimbledon as well.
Yeah, you'd think he'd sort of want a bit of a break from it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like me going on and then like win the World Championship and going somewhere and find a snooker club.
Yeah.
Have a game of snooker.
Also, you think if you're Federer's wife, you'd be like, can we not play tennis? let's do something else. Trivial Pursuit or something. This is interesting though. Would you say, like when snooker play, when you're on your holiday, do you get drawn into playing, or would you try and keep completely different?
I'd be as far away from it as possible. I mean, when I was in the 90s winning the World Championship, once the season ended sort of middle May, I didn't pick up my cue for a couple of months. No, I wouldn't go near anything to do with snooker. I wanted to be away from it completely.
Are you all like that, or are there players who just never
Yeah,
stop?
I think most players, when they're not playing snooker, the last thing you want to do is be anywhere near a snooker hall or a snooker table.
Yeah,
It's because it's such an all-encompassing sport in terms of the practice you have to put in, hours in a snooker club. Why would you, if you didn't have to go in a snooker club?
Yeah.
You just wouldn't want to go there.
Yeah. You don't feel guilty if you like in the off season. You don't feel
No, not at all. I mean, but the season is different now than it used to be.
Yes.
They now have with obviously tournaments in China and stuff. They have it's becoming more and more a 12-month circuit, whereas before we literally had 2 months where there was nothing.
Yeah.
So you had nothing to practice for. There's no point, and you don't want to be indoors in the summer playing snooker. It's not an indoor in the summer sport kind of thing. So yeah, as far away from a snooker table as possible.
We've not really got an outdoor snooker culture.
No,
yet.
I have played outdoors in snooker.
Oh, yeah.
It was very strange actually. I played Sullivan in a tour of Bulgaria about 5 years ago, and the last night was outdoors.
Amazing.
And it was so weird because there was bats flying all over the place. Every time you'd be down on the table, and you would know there was a bat come close to you because the crowd would like go ooh like that, and it's like, and you're like, oh.
You don't see that.
There was spiders like this on the ground. It was very weird.
Amazing.
Yeah. Not something I'd do again in a hurry.
Is it different actually playing, like in terms of your shots and stuff? Does it affect you?
The table didn't play great, to be fair, because it was quite warm. It was quite humid. The table was pretty heavy, so it wasn't. But the amphitheater was in the middle of this whole tourist area, like these lovely gardens and stuff, and it had the atmosphere was great, but no, the table didn't play.
Amazing. In Bulgaria.
Yeah.
That's you against Ronnie in an outdoor.
Yeah.
God, I feel like a lot of listeners to this podcast would have enjoyed watching that, but none of us ever knew about it. The other question we've got for correspondence is: have you ever avoided going on holiday or attending a big event like a wedding or a birthday to watch snooker or to watch a sporting fixture? Which, again, we're looking for you to write in.
Yeah.
I don't think I have, but because the football team I support aren't good enough. But I reckon I'd skip most stuff to watch because a sports match it's a one-off, right?
Yeah.
You can't.
I know. Well, there's a clash coming up in the season. The British Open Snooker Tour, which I'll be working for ITV, is on the same weekend as the Ryder Cup.
That's the Ryder Cup.
So I'm kind of thinking, just will I put as much attention to snooker while I'm watching the golf on my iPad? It's like,
and the Ryder Cup's all day long as well.
The Ryder Cup comes once every 2 years. Yeah. It's like I'm thinking, but obviously, being as professional as I am, I'll be looking at the snooker.
Yeah, but are you in a commentary box?
I'll be both commentary box studios.
And
so
studio,
a mix.
so
Yeah. But I'll be one eye in the Ryder Cup.
Must be tempted to
snooker.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever avoided anything to watch a sporting event.
I don't think I have, but I probably would if I don't know. I mean, for me, it's like, I suppose the biggest thing happened in Bristol City is a playoff final to get into the Premier League, which we have had one of those and we lost. But if it happened again, I think. Yeah.
What would you avoid?
A
wedding?
Difficult, isn't it? A wedding, you feel like you're meant to be there.
Like a fat member of your family's wedding, would you?
Difficult. I'd be furious with them. But the trouble is with football, it can
very
quite,
selfish.
Yeah, and also you can't always. Like the wedding is organised maybe a year in advance. Then if you get to the playoff final or the FA Cup final or something, what are you meant to do? It's not their fault. It's no one's fault. But
would you feign an illness?
That's the trouble.
COVID.
The obvious way is you feign an illness. But then if you're picked up on telly and you're in the crowd, I think I'd almost have to say, look, I love you and everything, but I can't come to your wedding because
this might never happen again.
We're playing for a place in the Premier League here. Yeah, I reckon wedding you're in trouble if you miss it. Funeral is maybe even worse because you don't get another shot at that.
I think snooker fans. I think the World Championships are spared because it's so hard to get tickets. For the Crucible. If say you had tickets for the final, and then all of a sudden, you found someone was getting married or something like that. That'd be. If you're mad and so you'd never been to the Crucible,
well, which I haven't.
You'd never been to the final.
I've never been.
You've
I've
got
been
tickets.
To the Masters,
they're like gold dust to get tickets, and you got a ticket. And then something happened. That'd be a big choice, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the World's final is maybe the best example of this dilemma because it'd be almost impossible. Yeah. Again, I'm normally in Australia when it comes round, but some years I don't go, and on those years, if I got a ticket for the final, I think you'd have to. Certainly, if someone got married, you'd just be like, I can't relate to that. I'm in Sheffield. But if it's a funeral or family emergency, I don't know. You'd have to say. It's difficult for people to understand as well because snooker is. How the tickets work?
Would you miss the birth of your child to go and watch a snooker match?
Birth of your child is difficult, isn't it? I think you've probably got to be there holding the baby, but with the snooker on. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe put on a TV in the corner.
And of course, the funny thing is, the final is.
It depends who's in the final. I suppose.
It depends who's in the final, and sometimes it's. If it's going to be one of these that are like 18-9 or something, then if there's no tension. But if it's one that goes to the wire, I mean, you don't want to be missing that, do you?
No. Maybe you should say people, you just say, because it's always finishes in the bank holiday weekend in May. So maybe you should say, look, don't plan anything in the wedding. It's just the week after. Just don't do anything.
Just give me a little bit of leeway here. Yeah.
Don't be selfish.
Don't be selfish. I've got snooker to watch.